Welcome back to the final episode of the Design Challenge podcast for the next 2-ish months. And this is due to scheduling at my school, but this episode will break the recent format because the challenge just had a 2.5 hour episode that ended the control portion of the season. That means that this episode, I will not touch on Amazing Race, sadly. But stay tuned for a more in-depth recap at a later time of the Amazing Race season. Now, the most recent episode of the challenge, Battle for a New Champion, combined 2 episodes into one. This created an episode that was 2.5 hours long, as previously stated. And that was great. Because the ad breaks, there were a few of them, but they weren't as long, which is great. More episode and less ads. Yay. But everyone just streams stuff now, so it's all fine. Now, a reason why they may have done this was that the editors realized, hey, the current state of the game isn't all that entertaining drama-wise compared to other seasons, so we should just get this over and bring in the champions, which is a major reason why people have loved the challenge, is the fact that you get to see these champions and characters who are fan favorites come back and make a season really entertaining season after season. Now, the same thing happened on the challenge season 29, Invasion of the Champions, where the first portion of the season did not have champions and made the season a bit boring to start out. It wasn't great. But then got better later on when the champions invaded. Now, you can start to see this here in Battle for a New Champion with a teaser featuring Jordan's appearance to the arena in front of the house. This twist is way better than just a regular mercenary appearance, which I thought would come from before in previous episodes of this podcast. From the teaser, we can understand a couple things. The first is that the champions that will play in eliminations are able to eliminate someone, as a regular mercenary does, but also make themselves money. Now, aside from elevating the level of mercenary, it also brings us to the next part of the teaser. We see that people have their regular clothes on at this elimination, not with the uniform that they wear for daily challenges. This can mean that the format will change, where people now have individual bank accounts similar to other older seasons, where you can earn money in your bank account for winning daily challenges, and that can get either added to the final pool or you get to keep that money when you make the final. This is a well-needed break from the group deliberation that kind of gets messy, especially this episode where all the burn vote drama came into play. And hey, all I have to say is, if there was a hopper involved, burn voting could have sent someone home. You never know. It's the hopper. It's now great. Anti-burn vote. Now, on to the most recent episode, and starting with the car math challenge. I really like this concept where you need people to solve the math puzzle. It wasn't just a straight up math problem. It also required puzzling stuff around. Now, it's very simplistic to win in practice, and it aesthetically looks cool to see someone directing the cars around the circle and you have people solving the math problem. This then went into the first elimination of the episode between Raven and Huhui in the modified pole wrestle. Now, I like the concept, but the strategies in this elimination weren't all that efficient. There was not much physicality during the elimination because both went searching in the sand pile for the poles to score. I think the more optimal strategy, which was beginning to be used later in the elimination by Raven, is to let the other person search and then you play it out like a normal pole wrestle. But since both were really tired, it just became lame later on. Now, Huhui got sent home and come to the next challenge, which was the puzzle piece diving. The big thing here was the editing with Baywatch Ed. This little section where Ed came swimming out was very well edited, and it's a great scene for reality TV. Now, for the actual challenge, it played out well, where you swam to a group of buoys and then dived down to grab a puzzle piece and bring it to the color corresponding board, where someone then organized the pieces in the correct space before everyone would swim the boards to a central space. This was great to see how people would perform on their own and who would take one for the team and help the people who couldn't grab the pieces. though the pieces only seemed to be like 8 feet deep. And since they had the rope attached, it made it much easier than compared to the previous season of the challenge being USA 2, with the one challenge where you had to dive down and do a word search, which is much harder than grab puzzle piece. Um, and also, I like the Scuba Nelly T reference from Reese there, because gotta love Scuba Nelly T. This then led into the nomination of Huey for elimination. He called out Kyland. This vote also saw more burn votes, which made it boring to show the vote if everyone votes Huey, but we have to sit through people explaining the burn votes of why they're not voting Huey. This elimination involved rolling a ball or a bowling ball across the ramp and landing it in baskets. From the beginning, Kylan just had the better strategy because he quickly recognized the ramp had a steep drop off or a smooth one and can be used for a close basket or far. As well, whenever Kylan would roll his ball, he would run with it, unlike Huey, who just stood there and was like, we'll see if I land it. I don't care. I'll jog and pick it up. With that elimination, it would end the portion of Control and this episode of the Design Challenge podcast. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll have another video coming in the next few months. Thank you.